Hello, I'm Matt Aldrich and I'm an Associate Professor in Economics at the University of East Anglia, and in this presentation I am going to share with you our approach to undergraduate dissertations here at UEA. The module is built around three pedagogical principles that we think have a significant impact on student learning and employability. Those principles are bridging, peer learning and self-reflection. And the module is co-taught by myself and Professor Fabio Arrico. The Economics Dissertation is a capstone module that allows students to hone their skills and undertake an independent research project of their choosing. It's a year-long optional module for final year undergraduate students. Contact time takes the form of some weekly task-based workshops in the autumn semester, followed by the more traditional supervisor-supervisee relationship in the spring. So it has a bit more scaffolding than a typical dissertation, and it is the work we do with students in the autumn semester that I will focus on in this presentation. The work may take the form of an academic style piece of research or a work-based project on behalf of an external organisation. And that project could be sourced by me, or the student can generate that opportunity with an external organisation themselves, with guidance and support from the teaching team. The pedagogical approach is inspired by Kumar's SOAR model, which is a meta-model that explores the relationships and interactions between self, opportunity, aspirations and results. And that model integrates student learning with wider employability development. We place very few boundaries or restrictions on the subject matter of student research projects. It does not have to be closely related to a traditional field of economic study, although some inevitably are, but all we require is that the student demonstrates some of the skills they have learned throughout their course applied to one specific topic that demonstrates how real-world economics can be used to solve a problem for the benefit of society. And it's this freedom in topic choice, combined with the work we do with students around their motivations for doing a dissertation, that helps to bridge that gap between academic learning and the student's wider experience. Kumar defines bridging as making integrative and congruent connections from one topic to another and from HE to work and life beyond. And it's by allowing students the opportunity to incorporate interests, values, learning from outside their course and their career ambitions that I think really helps with that bridging process. There is a lot of self-directed learning involved, as you would expect with a dissertation. We teach very little subject-based content on the module, but instead run a series of task-based workshops in the first semester where we help students to develop research skills that they need. And throughout the module, students complete a weekly learning journal to help them develop their self-awareness, use self-reflection to aid their decision-making, problem solve, and identify next steps to make progress with their research. That self-reflection goes all the way through the module to the final submission, which I think is a really important tool to help students understand the whole research process and help them to articulate the skills and attributes they have developed. And that is what completes the whole process of learning. We place a strong emphasis on the importance of intrinsic motivation, ability and personality, what Kumar calls self-maps, in identifying a research topic. So a number of workshops early on in the course focus on student motivation, whether that's motivation for taking the module in the first place, motivations for exploring potential topic areas through the lens of students' wider interests, and also thinking about how to move from generic topic of interest to a focused and feasible research question. That's the opportunity awareness element of the SOAR model. Students carry out an audit of their skills and attributes to help them set goals, their aspirations for their development in order to successfully complete their research project. And that skills audit is repeated at the end of the semester. And then, as I said, we ask students to reflect on the whole process at the end of the module, and that helps them to recognise their progress. This is the results element of SOAR. This slide gives a sense of the learning content throughout the first semester of the module. We take a blended learning approach using a mixture of delivery methods. We release videos introducing the topic each week and where it fits into the research process, and ask students to complete tasks. The workshop tasks are assessed alongside the learning journal as a portfolio assessment. In the early part of the module, as I said, we spend a lot of time working with students to understand the research process and help students to manage their own expectations of what it's like to do research, and in particular, that uncertain nature of doing research and the fact that the path to get to the end point of the module is not a linear one, which is quite different to most assessments that students take in an undergraduate degree. We use that scaffolding approach to take students through different elements of the research process, and the one part of the module where students will learn some new material is around data analysis, where we might introduce the class to econometric models that will be helpful given the range of topics in any given year, but also note that we explore alternative approaches such as survey design, vignettes, case studies and such like. And that reflects that wider topic scope that we allow. Although student research topics are very individual, we also build a lot of peer learning and peer feedback into the module, so that each task that students undertake for the workshops involves a significant amount of time spent on peer discussion and critical evaluation of each other's progress. Depending on the task, that can be done in pairs, small groups, or as a whole group. And we try to make sure that students are matched with different in different groups each week, so they can bounce ideas off each other, so that they are exposed to lots of different perspectives, but also to try to foster a sense of a research community, so that students have that support network to help them get through the challenge of doing research. The assessment on the module contributes to this peer learning process, and it's an academic conference, effectively, or replicates an academic conference, and that takes place at the end of the autumn semester. It's effectively a whole day event where students present their progress in the form of a research proposal, and students are assigned discussants, and those discussants manage the questions from the floor on behalf of the presenters. It's also for this assessment where students conduct that second skills audit and present their reflections on their development to their peers. The benefit of running the assessment in this way is that all students on the module give feedback to each and every presenter as part of that peer learning approach. And they receive that feedback alongside the formal feedback and marking provided by the teaching team. Students then embark on the traditional supervisor-supervisee relationship during the spring, and they submit their work along with their portfolio of tasks and the learning journal at the end of the spring semester. This final slide just presents a couple of testimonials from students who took on a work-based project and the benefits that they got from that. And you can see here, in terms of the tone of language, the confidence that students have taken by doing a work-based project really shines through. And I think you really get that sense of achievement coming through these final reflections. And I've got to say, when it comes to marking the portfolios at the end of the year, that I think is just as rewarding for the teaching team as it is for the students. Just to summarise very quickly, I think that the success of the module comes from giving students the freedom to choose any topic, and it helps them to develop a better sense of the whole academic experience by aligning their academic learning with their values and wider interests. But the scaffolding and the self-reflection we put in place to help students really has a significant impact on students understanding and being able to articulate their learning. Thanks very much for listening.